Welcome to Cool Package, I think, utilizing and customizing Fivetran DBT packages. So if you ever come across a Fivetran package and you're initially very excited about it but didn't immediately get how to use it or how to make it work for you, this talk is for you. So let's get into it. So my name is Jamie Rodriguez, pronouns he, him. I've been working at Fivetran for around 3.5 years now, making DBT packages. And I'm based in San Francisco, which is where I took this selfie on my porch. So I hope they're still doing headshots. So what are we going to talk about? We'll start off with some basics. What is a package? It's not too late to ask, even if you're here. Why does Fivetran make them? And the bulk of this talk will be about some obstacles people face in using these straight out of the gate and how you can overcome them. We'll save some time at the end for questions. So what is a package? You probably know this if you're here, but for anyone who stumbled in here or my mom watching at home, I'll explain. So DBT packages essentially, in short, standalone projects that you can install in your own project and reference as well. They often, tackle a problem area that's shared by a lot of people. And specifically the ones that Fivetran focuses on are ones that model data from a consistently structured data set. So this is all of our packages right now on DBT Hub. They're currently 101, covering 49 distinct data sources. Those are two different numbers because for each connector we have two packages. A source one that's essentially just a staging layer, like light data cleaning, testing, and then the transform package, which has the analytics ready end models. We've also got some combo ones that either union together models from different packages or join them rather. So why does Fivetran make them? Well, our whole shtick is returning highly standardized schemas. So we know for the most part what everyone's core data is going to look like. And in a similar vein, organizations often have the same questions for a platform, or they use them in a similar way. So everyone that has a marketing thing like Klaviyo, you're probably going to want an attribution model, stuff like that. And DBT, all the adapters allow us to make them compatible with different warehouses, databases, which as of today, all of our packages are compatible with these bad boys. So always taking requests to expand this, of course. So I've kind of talked about how the way that we can make packages, we kind of bank on this level of standardization. But with that comes, there may be obstacles at the individual scale. And that's who's actually using the packages, individuals. But they are surmountable, I promise. So the first obstacle we have is kind of opinionated models. So the packages really aim to kind of satisfy the standard use case. If we can get you 80% of the way there, we feel like we've succeeded. But nonetheless, we still need to make opinionated decisions. Some of the most complex and significant of which we document in decision logs in our repositories. Wrong thing. All right, click the. Sorry. Okay. Okay. A little technical difficulty. Okay. There we go. Okay, thank you. Great, so got that out of the way. Had to happen. We do abstract some decisions into user configurable variables, but many are just simply baked into the model code. Because if we did that for every decision, that would be kind of crazy. But when it's necessary and not overly complicated, we do so. But if you fall into an uncommon or unique use case, you might disagree with some of these assumptions that are baked into the code. So what are you going to do? Next obstacle is nuanced schemas. I know I said all that stuff about standardized schemas, so what is this about? There's still some room for customization within these highly standardized schemas. You might not have all the source tables or fields that the package expects yet. So let's say you have a Shopify shop. If you haven't processed a refund, you won't have the refund table. And the moment you do, it'll appear. You may have multiple connectors that you want to run the package on all at once. Okay. And in the similar, I keep doing that. Okay. And these schemas might all be different in the way that I just discussed. These largely standardized schemas can still have these, these subtleties that make designing and adopting the package a little trickier than one might think. And the final obstacle is having very custom but very necessary fields. So as I talked about, many business questions, are shared across industries and orgs, but every organization is unique, and you're going to have some unique questions. Whereas the package does try to be as agnostic as possible, and go for these standard questions. So they include fields that most users will find valuable and not introduce like noise and super wide models. And on the flip side of that, will exclude fields or transformations that are less commonly used, but for a handful of people, they may be imperative to answer their stakeholder questions. So if there's something that the package doesn't have out of the box, you may seriously need it to answer your stakeholder questions. You may wonder, how can I get this in there? So can you overcome these obstacles? The answer is yeah. So we'll talk about some guides and some real-life examples in which we did so. First, we'll talk about the Shopify package and overriding some opinionated model logic in there. So this is an entry from the decision log in our Shopify repository where we talk about knowingly diverging from Shopify's in-app reporting a tiny bit. Shopify, their in-app reports they base dates or order dates on the process timestamp instead of the created timestamp, whereas in the package we chose to use the created timestamp, which we felt like made more sense realistically, but if you have any other thoughts, please reach out. But we've definitely all had stakeholders that are like, I just want it to match what I'm seeing in there. So let's say your stakeholder will not stand for this. How can we keep using the package, specifically the daily shop model? So how can we keep doing so? Are we going to have to, go rogue and strip the package for pieces, or clone or fork it, lose the Fivetran manage aspect of that? We can we can override the package in a very targeted manner, tinkering with it to ensure that that daily orders will match what your stakeholder is seeing. Specifically, we're going to override the model where we're taking the order created timestamp and truncating that instead of the process timestamp, and we're going to make the change that your stakeholder wants. So time to override some logic. So the first step, you just have to track down the code, where the code that you want to change lives. So here I went through the DAG and determined that the order date stuff that I want to adjust is in this intermediate Shopify daily orders model. And then we're going to want to disable the packages version of this model. So from your dbt project.yaml file, you're going to add this enabled false flag. And you're going to want to completely scope it out. So by that I mean have like the Shopify package, but also any like subfolders that it exists in. Set it to false, and then you can dbt compile before and after to see like if the number of models went down to verify this worked. And then next, we're going to go to our own models directory or wherever our models path is and create a new model with the same exact name. And this will ensure that the package will just point to your version. So we're kind of like lifting and shifting this intermediate model to our own project. And as for the code inside, we're going to copy and paste the original contents of the intermediate model and make the appropriate adjustments and make sure we don't change anything else so as to not break anything downstream. So here we're just changing the timestamp that we are date trunking. And then that is kind of it. If you dbt run, and this will successfully overwrite that intermediate model, and Shopify daily shop model will simply just point to yours seamlessly. So your stakeholder will have the metrics that they want, while you could still take advantage of this Fivetran manage package. Like you don't need to clone and repo it and perhaps have outdated transforms. Cool. So next example is unioning nuance schemas in the QuickBooks package. So we get this sort of request a lot, asking for support to be able to run the package on multiple instances, which makes sense. In Fivetran, you can have multiple QuickBooks instances. Often people do for like different countries and stuff, especially if we know that they're mostly gonna look the same. Though the schema nuance that I talked about earlier do make this a little tricky because for all of these variables that we have here, you might not have the table that it applies to. Like if you haven't processed a transfer yet, it's not going to be there. And these variables are referenced all over the packages to dynamically turn off models and like dynamically bring in things for joins and CTEs and stuff. So all of these values could be different for your various connectors. So how can we handle that? Specifically, can the package handle running on multiple QuickBooks instances at once and gracefully handling differences between them in case one of them doesn't have a table, if neither of them have a table, stuff like that. So I introduced Fivetran Utils Union Data. So what's that first part, Fivetran Utils? It's a package across database compatible macros that we leverage across all other packages, and it itself has a dependency on dbt utils. And I kind of just wanted to bring attention to Fivetran Utils because there are a lot of macros in there that are pretty specific to the framework of packages. However, there are some macros in there that you could definitely use in your own project that are pretty cool, especially like the JSON ones and stuff like that. But and some of these would probably contribute to dbt utils, but for now they're here. Specifically, we're going to talk about union data, which is macro that at a high level unions multiple connectors source tables together and allows us to run the package on them all at once. And it calls upon dbt utils union relations, but is essentially adds an additional dynamic wrapper around that. Because union relations will handle the potentially mismatching columns, but union data allows us to also handle the mismatching tables, like either partially or completely missing. So before I get into kind of how union data works a little bit, I just want to show you what you need to do to use it. So it's pretty simple. You just have to tell us where the data lives, either the QuickBooks Union schemas or the union databases. And currently there is a limitation to union data where you can't use both of these. If you're providing multiple schemas, they all need to be in the same database. If you're providing different databases, they all need to have the default schema name of just like QuickBooks. So if you were to dbt run, this would be run successfully. You'd end up with package models that are running off of all of your QuickBooks instances and can be separated by the source relation column. There's a second step that I'll get into in a little later, but let's talk about how union data works a tiny bit. So this is the very simple case that I will not focus on. This is kind of like where we're letting union relations do its thing, where we found at least one table, and it's just ensuring that all the columns are the right data types and stuff. So what I want to focus on more is the not so simple case where we did not find a table anywhere. So what happens first in this case is it runs successfully, but we raise this like output warning, like a heads up that like, hey, we didn't find departments table in your schema. We're going to create a completely empty staging table so we don't break stuff. And you could turn this off if you're like, yeah, I get it, by setting Fivetran remove empty table warnings to true. But yeah, so how does the like empty table stuff work? Well, in our staging models, we already had macros in place to ensure that the staging models had all the right columns in case someone was missing one of these. So we leverage these columns to kind of like completely recreate the table that we're expecting, since we don't know what columns are actually supposed to be in there since we don't have it in the warehouse. So for every single table that we have in our source packages, we have these like get table name columns macros where we have all the right data types and everything, and that gets called in the staging model. And so let's say you don't have a department yet in your QuickBooks instance, it would compile to something like this. So fairly similar to the union relations thing, except we're casting nulls as the proper data types. So this will work with everything downstream. But just any sort of department values that get pulled into your end models will just be null. So that's kind of how stuff works under the hood, but I'm going to get back to that optional second step I talked about. So if you did not do this, everything would run correctly, but your DAG would be a little mucked up, or like the package models would not be like appropriately connected to your source tables. So to maintain the integrity of your DAG, you would also want to define QuickBooks sources yourself in a YAML file in your project. And these would have to the name would have to match like the schema or database you gave us. So QuickBooks USA schema the source name is called QuickBooks USA. And you could just copy and paste the source YAML configuration that we have in the QuickBooks source package, so you don't need to rewrite everything. The next step is setting the has defined sources variable to true, which tells the union data macro that we're going to work off of source relationships instead of these raw tables. And you would scope it to the source package that we're doing this in. So here, QuickBooks source. And this is very silly stuff that I'm a little embarrassed to talk about. But you set QuickBooks schema or like QuickBooks database to one of the schemas or databases you're running the package on. Because essentially this overwrites the default source that we have in there that is for like, if you're not using multiple data sources. So this just consolidates them all together. If you were not to do that, there'd just be like some floating sources in the DAG. So this just zoops it all together. So that it looks something like this. So this is the DAG for the accounts payable, accounts receivable model. So we can see in, let me use the laser, that, that in each of these staging models, we have multiple source tables getting piped into them and all the way down to the end model. So that's that optional second step. So that's essentially how you use union data. We've successfully unioned together the multiple sources with potentially overlapping or completely not overlapping schemas gracefully and while maintaining the integrity of our DAG. So union data is currently available in these packages that I will not go through and read, but we are slowly but surely working towards 100% coverage of union data in our packages. So if there is one that you don't see here and you would like us to prioritize, please let us know. Cool. So for our last example, we'll be talking about very custom but very necessary fields in NetSuite. It's a bit more of a case study. So I'll set the scene a little bit for those of you who are lucky enough to not know about this. Sorry, just kidding if there's any Oracle people in the crowd. But NetSuite in the past year or so rolled out netsuite2.com, which is a new data source that is it's different from NetSuite 1 in like slightly sinister ways that I will not get into, but that's another day, another talk. But the package kind of handles this transition for you by creating identical end models for the different endpoints and you would set using this NetSuite data model variable. So there is complete parity across these models. So I would like to talk about someone who used our package to handle this and while still maintaining their custom fields. So specifically, that user was Fivetran's own internal analytics team, who they were not using the package prior to all of this. They had analogous end models, same income statement, balance sheet stuff. So this transition did work well for them. The objective overall was to get on NetSuite 2 models, but we split it into a few steps. First, transitioning from their homegrown internal NetSuite 1 models to the packaged NetSuite 1 models, then from the packaged NetSuite 1 models to its NetSuite 2 models, and all the while maintaining 100% parity with the internal models. In terms of calculated metrics, is everything tying out, but also the included fields that downstream finance reports were expecting. A lot of them were custom and not included in the package by default. So what are we going to do about that? It's pass-through column o'clock somewhere, as I always say. But by that, what do I mean? Pass-through columns, by that we mean fields that are not included in the package models by default, but that you can configure via variable to include in your staging models and in the app model, so be persisted there too. And currently they're only available for tables we know to support custom fields, so we'll always document in the package README which tables these are available for. And the variable looks something like this that you would set. So for each of the tables, it would be departments, pass-through columns. The name is the only actually required argument here, but you could also alias it and also apply SQL. So that could be a simple data cast, but also maybe something more intense, perhaps involving other fields from the table. So the Fivetran team used 55 different pass-through columns to completely recreate and validate this stuff, and that's definitely I've definitely seen way more pass-through columns than that, but some of them were pretty straightforward, just passing through. Others were applying the alias to make sure the downstream looker reports had the field that we expected. Others were a bit more complex, standardizing data types, making sure yeses and Ts were both true. And then some were actually not pass-through columns. We realized that they should actually be in the package by default. So here, we added, our balance sheet model did not have the transaction ID or transaction line ID, whereas our internal models did. And we were like, oh, no, that sounds like that should be in there. Which kind of brings me to this point that pass-through columns are really great, but if there's something you feel that's not all that custom, please feel free to reach out. And this kind of applies as well to the Shopify example I was talking about before, where like, I feel like the first thing you should always do is reach out to us to make it an issue or PR, because that's something that we could, especially with the Shopify one, like include as a variable or something, even if it's not the default behavior. Like these packages are like, truly living, breathing projects and absolutely not set in stone, and they're very much made better by community feedback. So, yeah, we'd love to hear from you in the Slack thread or the Bizaboo chat. How you've tailored a Fivetran or any DBT package you're liking, or even better, if you haven't and you've just faced some challenges, pain points, and dead ends, when checking out a Fivetran or any other DBT package. And anything else really, if anyone wants to go to the zoo, or if you like my bowling shirt, I don't know. And we'll consolidate this all in a blog post and share it back with you guys. So how to contact us. We've got the Fivetran community user group for DBT. Reach out on DBT Slack, open an issue, email us. Especially for new package requests, visit the Fivetran feature request portal. But also, if you say Fivetran 3 times in the bathroom, I will appear in the mirror. And that's questions. Or that's it. So I'd like to open it up for questions. Anybody? Oh, I see. So they asked why not make an empty refunds table from the Fivetran side if you don't have a refund before you a refund table if you haven't processed refunds. That is a question that maybe I should ask our data PM here, one of our PMs here. But I guess I'm unsure.
It's one of those things that it's like really low level and our coding is much more difficult than it sounds, but definitely something that we're continuing to try to get to. So I think everybody gets those types of things every so often, right?
Cool.
What percentage of your, effort, time, mind space is dealing with Salesforce take up?
So they asked how much time, mind space is Salesforce. Yeah, well, I don't know if anyone's used the Salesforce formula utils package. That one takes up the most time. Quick start. But yeah, so a lot, not the most. Zendesk, that maybe, I have war flashbacks from Zendesk. So.
Speaking about Salesforce, what was the reason for replacing Salesforce formula table by Salesforce formula model? It's such a pain for us. We're just like unhappy.
Yeah, they asked about why we replaced the Salesforce formula table with the formula model table. That I could not tell, or I couldn't tell you. Might be another PM question, but I think there were some major limitations with that first version of the table. Like I think it didn't allow us to do like nested formulas and stuff like that.
History table is also going away for some reason.
Oh.
History formulas, which is also how do we know that the formula changed if we don't have history?
Yeah. So how do we know if the?
I'll take your information, share it with our, you can write it down.
All right.
Have the PM for that product.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Ray will talk to you. If anyone else has any Salesforce questions, exchange info with Andrew here. Any other questions?
In the event that we actually did fork a repo and make our own changes, do you have any recommendations for how to best sync that with uploads and go to the main repo?
Yeah, it's something we thought about for a bit. I guess like routine. I mean, I would say like routinely fetching or monitoring the package for updates. You can like star our package and see like when we push releases, and then maybe pull that in and see if there's no merge conflicts or anything like that. Anybody else? Cool. Well, thank you so much all for your time and for listening to me yap up here. So have a great Coalesce.